You can applause before starting.
Wait.
The carrot song, we need a carrot song.
So we're live, Nick? And how did you adjust the camera so that
It is.
Oh wait, yeah.
it sits down?
Yeah, I'll sit on the little puff.
Yeah, do the way you need to. I'll adjust the thing. Lovely.
Oh, hang on, let's get my notes.
And your microphone?
Yeah, it's
You
on.
can maybe even...
Wow, it's not good. Maybe it gets a bit hot. I don't know.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Is it?
Then let's go.
And this is on here, but or is this the screen?
How,
Like,
But this is not on the stream.
how does he... this
Like, what do I do?
sharing?
No. Yeah, if you want, you can put it there, however you want.
But like, if I want to put
Oh,
the
people locally will need to see it too.
yeah.
All right, then
Yeah.
you can do it like that. Maybe you have to just make it smaller, like resize it, but it only works in the upper corner.
Where should I put it?
No, just if you resize the thing smaller, in the upper corner you can resize it
Like that.
beyond the X, the tiny pixel.
Yeah, one. Wait, how big should I make it?
No, so that it fits on the screen, you have to.
But it does fit on the screen already.
Perfect, then it's lovely.
Like that, yeah.
It's flickering.
supposed to be.
How does it stay? It's flickering for some reason.
I know, but it's something with the beam.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
OBS.
Yeah.
It's OBS. Oh. Yeah.
So let me just refresh my Discord.
One moment, please, viewers.
So we either need some professional hardware or
Boo-doo-doo.
a service.
Or
Boo-doo.
switch your audio and your video on your system from whatever it's using right now to Pipewire.
To what?
Pipe wire for the win. Let's get another drink. And just I've got the microphone. Gonna get another drink.
Will you just show pages?
Yeah.
Then can you always just throw it in the chat here in this live stream, and then I will open it to show it to the stream. You can open it there, use it normally, yeah, and I will just...
But I'll have to sign up and do stuff like that.
It's already
It's flickering.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll join that one because I don't have my account here, so I'm going to have to sign up for a new account and then join it. But maybe you can approve it.
Refresh. Can you refresh this Discord?
Yeah, it would actually. Yeah. Because then I can apply and you can approve it. One moment, please, viewers.
What will happen?
He's just getting a laptop and he can be on the other end of that, pressing. Like he'll be inside a Karrot group and can accept me into the group.
Oh.
Ooh.
So you found yourself like a backdoor.
Ooh. Ah. Oh.
Now it seems to flicker. That's a good sign. Okay, again. It's flickering again. Why are you flickering?
Welcome to Wizard Amiga's Code Camp. The next presentation will be one on Karrot by Nick Sellen. Brought to you by Astral Ship. Yeah. Every word is pronounced fully.
Frame buffers and
Yeah.
You should make an evil version of this project called Stick.
Yeah. Oh, carrot and a stick. Yeah.
You just have to wait for short until
Sorry, we're just going to wait a minute until Keat has developed live stream, apparently, so bear with us.
Okay. So
Oh, did I misunderstand?
we should start, and it's just gonna flicker a little bit.
Yeah. All right, yeah, thank you. This is slightly impromptu talk. I was going to do a talk, but I haven't got anything specifically planned. And the talk is going to be about a project called Karrot, which I am currently the main developer. And we're just going to explore it. And I'd like it to be as interactive as possible to help me with my lack of preparation. But I did quickly write some notes so we can see how that goes. And maybe I'll just give you a sort of like mile high version of it, and maybe we'll just sign up in this process. So we've got the home page here. Start a group, become a community. So Karrot's community organizing software for groups of people that want to do stuff in the real world. I mean, it's not strictly necessary to do it in the real world, but that's the focus of the communities right now. And here's a screenshot. No, we'll go into the features after we sign up. So it's sort of like all sorts of hippie alternative projects is like the core type of thing that people might use it for. And the main thing has actually been food saving groups that want to take food that would be wasted otherwise and use it. So it's really non-technical sort of communities of people using it. And let's have a look at the existing groups using it. So it's live and active, and it's been used since we first made it. Well, first put it online, we had groups waiting to use it, so there was a need for it already. At the moment, almost all the groups using it are doing food saving stuff because of the history of the project. And although we're not very numerically data focused, I did look the other day, and every day 3 tons of food are rescued using this software. Like there's a feedback feature where people click and put how much they saved, and I added it all up on a calculator, and it was 3 tons every day, which I thought was quite cool. And so there's about 30 active groups using it, doing all sorts of stuff, and the map shows you where they are. And they come in little pools. There's a little French group here. They're all part of the same organization, actually, this DLC. They save a lot. And yeah, some other ones. And the Warsaw one is one of the most active ones. So I'm not signed in here at all, and you can just see some information about the group. That's 200 people in that one. And then you can log in or sign up to join it. And we also, I love just putting it in another language, so it's quite well translated. So it's nice to put the Polish group in Polish. And yeah, but let's put it back so I can use my monolingual ways. So we're just going to sign up here because this isn't my computer. And it will show you the process as well and show you any bugs. And it's helpfully filled in a password already. That's interesting. Why would it?
Because I already signed up.
Oh, so we could just log in. Yeah. Yeah. So let's log in. Huzzah! Oh, so we didn't go through the thing. Oh yeah, look here. Yeah. So actually, we didn't do the sign-up process or the joining process. Maybe we should do that. Should we do that? Who wants to see the sign-up process?
Everyone knows how to log into a website.
Yes.
So
But
go to the content, meet.
there's applying to join a group. That's another bit. Maybe everybody doesn't know about that. All right. Okay, we'll look at this. So this is like when you come into a group. This is the main page. So it's like a wall. We didn't actually start with any communication features. That came later. So we started super minimal. And the first feature we added, it used to be called pickups. Okay, this isn't a good group for that because there's nothing there. But we'll add one in a moment. Unless you're part of another group. No. No, let's make a new group. So we've gone back to the group overview, and this is Alex's account. Yeah, we could create one. So create new group.
Was it Amigas?
Wizard, is that going? Yeah, Wizard Amigos. And I think everything else is optional. So we have a new group. So anyone can create a group, like you don't have to come and ask us. And then it's a bit empty at the beginning. And the first thing we have to do is create a place. Oh, look, we just got an application came in from Mike. So let's see. So this is the application feature. Groups are closed because they're normally like groups, offline groups that sort of want some level of trust. And so Mike's just applied just now. And there's some default questions. Before you join our group, we'd like to know a bit about you. Please, can I join? And we can just say accept and say yes. And now Mike's in the group. We can have a look at the member list. And there's Mike. So the core bit of the software is organizing, in the original case, who's going to pick up some food from the supermarket at a given time. And for that, we have a place. And so we'll just create a place. Let's imagine we use it for organizing this place. So let's make one called Astral Ship. And these could be virtual, like online spaces or physical spaces. And we're going to just say it's cooperating and just gloss over why we just put that. And then let's put, someone help me out here. How do I? What's it? But I need letters, not sounds.
I only speak letters.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, look, there we go. Yeah, we can do that. And then we can drag it manually to where it actually is. And we could edit that. You could add Astral Ship on the front there if you want. And then we'll press create. So now we have a place. And now we need to do some activities. So activities are, yeah.
Is that OpenStreetMap?
That was OpenStreetMap, yeah. And the OpenStreetMap geocoding thing, that, yeah. So an activity is something some people are going to do somewhere, sometime. And they come in two activity series or one-time activity. So it's basically like a calendar function. And let's do a one-time one. Oh, so they come in types, and these are like the default ones. But these ones, let's pretend these aren't appropriate. Let's just make our own type. So we can edit all this stuff. So we'll make a new type called... shopping, yeah. That's a good one.
What are
Yeah. Yeah, one of the main premises of this is to help groups of random people organize effectively. And so I start to think of things where if that scenario happened, where there's 10 people, 5 of them trust each other, 5 of them trust each other, it goes, do you think you might be 2 separate groups, really? Or I don't know, like, that's probably a bit dumb, that one, but
Wait,
yeah.
can I ask something? Like now, do we know what is the current count of carrots, or do we need to refresh the page? Does it auto, yeah?
Can someone trust Jam, please, who hasn't already, to answer Nina's question? Maybe Mars, can you trust Jam? Yeah, there's 2, yeah. Web sockets. Yeah.
But the color didn't update.
why is it still red then?
Yeah, I don't know. I always find it hard to understand what all these different things mean. Why is it red? No, it's because I haven't trusted Jam. I think that's what.
Oh, it's from your perspective.
Yeah.
So you see the green ones you trust, but the red ones they maybe have a lot of trust. but you didn't.
Let's find out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit cryptic, I think. So, but any UX designers out there, please contact us. Hang on, a question for the guy with the glasses on his head.
Sorry, but now I put the glasses on my face, so it's no longer applicable. This looks the best. Like, just own it. This is a great product with fully excellent functionalities. Everything just works. You do a live demo. There is no bugs, no glitches. The features work just right. I would say it's excellent. Just own it. Just own the quality work. It's excellent.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit.
Oh, a question for the guy with the flat cap again.
Well, so I was just thinking about the trust thing, and an interesting. It reminded me of a talk that we did at Action Lab some years ago in Bradford, I think, probably 2015. A guy came and talked about mapping social networks and organisations for the purposes of disruption of that organisation. So, like, effectively, what he was saying was a kind of a common tactic used by, say, another group that wanted to disrupt it. So, you know, that could be whatever it is, and a government, authorities, or just someone that doesn't really like carrots, for example, would be to get that graphing and saying, actually, this group is a number of factions. Find the fracture point and work and cause the, you know, the thin connection.
hat fell off. Overlap, because yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, we just make stuff and put it out there, and they just have to suck it up. So like when we first added the bit to remove a user through this process, which we go into, the group that really needed to remove someone were like, "Whew, that looks a bit complicated." Like they just wanted a button where you kick them out, like some admin. Like, no, we're not doing admins. You have to have a discussion and do score voting, and our score voting has 3 sliders. Like, it's do you want them to stay in the group? Like, mine, like
screen.
Disapprove, approve. In the group. Hang on, what was the first one I said? The first one, do you want to stay in the group? The second one, do you want them to be removed from the group? And the third one, do you want to carry on discussing? And everyone's like, why have you got one for like staying and one for removing? And when we discuss it, every for score. Learn how
Can you
to
kick
use
me
it.
out now, please? Because I'm very breaking every single law.
He's leaving on the edge.
I'll just say a little bit more to this, and then
We can kick him out. We can kick him out.
Yeah,
We can
like,
try that feature.
Yeah,
He's an asshole.
But he's doing so much work.
So even though even though I created the group, I have no special power to do this. So someone else can go on the profile, and there's a sad face. Actually, I mean, I guess I need to show. Yeah, do the sad face, and it will say how important it is for the community to.
Sad face next to somebody's profile?
Yeah, I don't know what happens if loads of people did it once. That doesn't really happen, so you might break it. No, it'd probably be alright.
Wait, so what? A sad face next to the person?
Yeah, you could create one about someone else.
Where can you show us?
Oh yeah, I'll do that in a minute. But yeah. So, like one of the main things for me to mitigate that problem of these small groups and the superstructure is a design process to how we build features to try and include the community. I don't know if the spirit of the room moved on to how to kick the asshole out, but and for me the hope is this community design process is able to hold that stuff so we can hear what they want. Like we have no legal structure at the moment or anything, and it's been going. I think 2016 is when we first had the groups, and we've managed to go that far without legal structure and get funding even a bit as well. Not loads, but some. In the future, I'd actually like a sort of nice structure, maybe a co-op that they're somehow included or representative, like officially, to be able to have a say in something. And it's open source, and they could, like, you could run your own instance, and we just got it set up with Co-op Cloud, so you can start up an instance as well. We paid Michal in Warsaw to do it, because for me, there's super specialized software. Like there's loads of little tools that people make for like their one-off project. I guess like the Action Camp software is a good example of that. And then there's super general software, like say Facebook is one, where of course you can't add features to Facebook, but Mike can add whatever he wants to Action Camp if Naomi approves. And Karrot to me is trying to do somewhere in the middle, because like it's inefficient if every project made their own custom software, and there's lots of groups that sort of fit this model, but I'd like customization in the software that you can click around to sort of adapt it to the purposes, so it doesn't have to come back to a software developer to build. Did it sort of answer your question? Do we need the 5-hour chat?
The answer is basically it's complicated, right?
Yeah, it's really complicated and very interesting and a very good question. Yeah, and I like it.
Actually, about the hyperstructures.
Or hang on, to the guy with the neon thing around his neck.
Okay, no, so I just need to swap. It's no longer applicable. About the hyperstructures, can you scale it up to the small town, city, nation? Because if you have this structure of structures, you can, I was actually thinking, wow, this platform is mature. It is easy for use for a non-technical user. I like it a lot. And I was thinking, there is, the biggest one is about 500 members. Can it scale to 500,000 members? Can you run a Wales on this? Like I say, building regulations, energy, food security, education. Can it scale to a small country?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's so many parts to the question. And so one part is the social bit. Like with say this Dunbar number we were talking about the other day, like 150, and maybe a group shouldn't be bigger than that because you can't even know all the people. And what does it mean to participate in a group where you don't know the people? And the history of this project is coming from foodsharing.de, which is it's a food saving platform in Germany, and that's about 200,000 people on the platform, and like it sort of has superstructure and small parts, but I don't know what my point is there. That bit's tricky, I think. So like, I actually really like the model of small groups that are kind of independent, that can do their thing. There's a lot of coordination problem when you have sort of one big organization, and by that point, the individual people in the group don't feel that much connection to the top when there's 200,000 people in it, I suspect. So we like the model where you can just, anyone can create a group, and we have some rebel groups from food sharing come onto Karrot because they don't like the bureaucracy on it or something, and they can make an independent group. And some groups like fork and they create another group on Karrot. So there's a lot of small groups that may or may not associate with each other. It's sort of part of the model, like this bottom-up organizing. So that's the sort of social perspective. Like the technical perspective is no, it couldn't, in its current form, it couldn't scale to that much because, I don't know, the VPS would break. I know it's a dedicated server, I think, yeah. It would break. And then there's loads of bits of it which aren't, that load the whole member list always into it, for example. And we already have some scaling problems with the Warsaw group, which is fixed now. But yeah, that's not a fundamental problem. That's just, it might need someone cleverer than me to build it. But like, if it was doing it for all of Wales, Wales should give some money to pay a cleverer person. Does it answer enough of your question? Yeah. And we have another question for the man in the hiking shoes.
Nearly one of the only people not in flip-flops or socks. I mean,
Want to make it sound like a lot of people.
I got two questions for you. Number one is, have you thought about if you've got, is there any sort of peering between, could you have peering between multiple installations of Karrot and thus scale it so you can create a peer-to-peer network of Karrot installations?
I nod at the premise of your question, not yes.
And peer-to-peer, pure peer-to-peer, or federate? That's my question.
We don't do this peer-to-peer bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. Currently, no. Like there's, and there's only one instance. It's like the one we run. I mean, in theory, people could have run their own for ages. But like all the groups that we work with, they're just super non-technical. Like they're not going to run an instance. I would like them to do that. Like I'd like non-technical groups to make connections with local technical people, so they trust them on a sort of human-to-human basis, and then run one for that area. And then the federated sort of stuff or peer-to-peer or something becomes really useful, because part of the premise of this is that you're part of a sort of bigger whole of groups, and if everyone's just on their own instance, it doesn't get that impact. And and then there's like sort of local communities versus like loads of different types of group in a city versus loads of the same type of group over a large area. So because we've got this food sharing history, almost all the groups are food sharing spread out over Europe, and they're sort of connected on that. But what we'd really like is different types of group in a local area to be on there. And the sort of roadmap I would like is you continue to have sort of your home instance that you go to do your organising, but other instances that are set up either as geographical communities or interest-based communities make the public information available. So like what you can see on Karrot.world when you're not signed in is dots for the groups, and have that information federate first of all, because to me that is one of the most meaningful bits. Beyond that, most of the groups, I think they're probably quite happy to be contained within one server for that. And some of the other features, like sort of really thinking what is internal group stuff and what is sort of like public stuff you want to sort of push out everywhere for anyone who wants to listen. And one of our new features, it's not deployed yet, but is you can make an activity a public activity, which is what a lot of groups wanted, where some of the events are like internal for members only, and some of them are like public things, and they want a link that they can just spread around on social media with the like canonical information of the event, which we have now not deployed. So if we might not have enough time, but I could show you the bleeding edge features on that other instance.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh,
Alex,
hang on. We've got.
Naomi and then you.
Yeah, we got a question. My creativity is running out.
Not really a question, I'm just saying what about...
Oh yeah,
you know,
if you wait a moment, please.
No, it's not, it wasn't really a question.
All right. But I have
Can
one.
you say it again?
What do you want to say again?
Oh, we were going to kick Mars out, I'm just wondering, you know, he's still around, like...
Yeah, so shall we have a look at that conflict resolution feature and talk about it?
Yeah, we have to first talk about it, yeah.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I also had one, but it was more like regarding the menu. I see applications, and it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, we only got halfway through the menu. On the
yeah,
menu
exactly.
there.
So that was my question, but yeah.
So we're still going through the menu, whoever the menu person was.
They see a lot of
So yeah, we just have a look at the. So we called them issues when you try and kick someone out. So just for the listeners at home, I'll just go through the conflict resolution process from the beginning on the big screen, and let's find someone who hasn't been. No, I can't. Oh no, he's so nice. Let's. Yeah, but I think he might. He's already. So this sad face means look, he's already got a. This process is to result. So that's already in process. So we can see. Yeah, Mike says he's a miserable git, and then there's a discussion here. Oh dear, it's going a bit dark now. And so somebody else had created an issue with this person to possibly remove them, and we have two parts to it, where we have the initial information. So Mike Harris sort of wrote the reasons here, and then there's a chat which has got 4 people in it, which is everyone in the group, and then we have this other tab is to vote, and it says how do you want to proceed with the conflict, and we can decide. Well, it says time to vote 7 days. So the process for resolving these conflicts is 7 days that we decided. And then this is the complicated slider that they're like, why have you got all these sliders? And so we have 3 options here. Mars look, that's covering over that. That's stupid. Let's put it up here. So Mars, the first option is Mars gets removed from Wizard Amigos, and we can go from strong support, neutral in the middle, or strong resistance on.
That was the text, so
Yeah.
for no other reason.
So yeah, no, I think I'd have strong resistance, although the stuff he's putting in the chat is getting a bit dodgy, so I might change that in a minute. And then something broke there. Sorry. I think if I get a WebSocket update, it resets that thing. Yeah. And then so the middle one, no change. Mars stays in Wizard Amigos. So at this point, you're like, hang on, what? I just say what I wanted. So let's just. Stays in Wizard Amigos. Yeah, I support that. it's not too strong support, because I have to get back to that chat. And then the third one is further discussion, extend time by starting another voting. Like, oh, fuck that, no, don't want to do more. And then so I'll save my vote. And this is continuous voting process, so it's not one time, like any time throughout the 7 days, depending on how the discussion progresses, you can change the vote. So now you delete your post. Yeah. So now, is that good or bad? Like, it might be good. Like,
This would be some sort of way to see the post history of an edited post.
yeah, I think it'd be nice. I want to add that. Yeah, exactly. It does show that it was edited, so you've got sort of a.
But we don't know what.
But like sometimes things really need to be deleted as well. So features get complicated. But so yeah, I'm going to leave my vote as it is. So that can go on for 7 days, and then at the end.
What did Mike say? What did Mike say?
Oh yeah, right. Blame the computer. And this voting method is based on something called systemic consensus, which came out of Germany, and there's not a lot of English stuff around it. Apart from there's an English Wikipedia article that my friend Doug wrote recently about it. So it's sort of, there's not that many people that do it. And oh, hang on, 1 minute. A question for the guy wearing clothes.
Oh, no. I fully support this system about why are you having the two questions, because in my jurisdiction, the courts very often apply the test, is something reasonable? But then there is a test, was something unreasonable? And then whether it was something not unreasonable, and then it was whether someone has a reasonable excuse towards unreasonable behavior. So there are different definitions of objective reasonableness, and actually it is all, at the end of the day, it's good to have a multiple data points.
Yeah, no, like I was of the opinion that, well, of course we need 3. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. And we had really like funny discussions where it's like, I can't even understand what you're saying. Like, I mean, we designed it on paper, this in a house, like 4 of us. It's partly because I mean, like you can go so deep in this voting process stuff. So yeah, and to me, it's a bit confusing for people. So we probably evolve it over time to make it more understandable, whilst keeping the properties of fair voting. I like preference voting is another one I quite like. So you reorder them in the order you would like them to happen most. Just anything to avoid sort of this one where you just pick your favourite and then people do all these strategies. But there's loads of voting geeks who can input on this. Actually, you do have a question, but like the one we're slightly moving towards is sociocratic decision processes, where somebody makes a proposal. So in this case, it would be Mars gets removed from the group, and then you check for consent or if people have objections, and you edit the proposal over time to make it something everybody is happy with. So it might be, you start with Mars is removed from the group, and someone goes, that's a bit harsh, like, yeah, like, and just maybe change something, and then that, I think, is a really nice process, and we might go in that direction with it. So yeah, a guy, oh, yeah.
Carry the thing.
Sorry, I think.
No, first it's Mike.
Oh, sorry.
The guy with the shoes.
The shoe is not true.
So I've sort of set up some community kind of web projects at U by Groups. Had a bit of a problem with moribund groups and sort of cleaning off users that aren't used and things aren't used. Have you had anything around that?
And to add another question for the
First, probably. I have both questions. All right, okay.
And the second thing is, like, maybe the fact why this German model of voting, or I don't know for what exactly it is, but like is complicated because you want to make it not so easy to just say hate or like kick somebody out or not, but it's kind of more complicated, so you don't know what will it calculate now. So so it's not so easy maybe for people to just kick somebody out, or I don't know.
Yeah, so the thing you said about getting moribund, I never used that word, like empty groups of people, was really present in our, I guess it's like our parent project, this foodsharing.de. So that has loads of people, and the job was a manual task for someone who's like a special power in the group to go through and clean up the old people. And we're like, the computer knows who's active or not, so we automated it. And so there's a concept of whether you're active, and active just means sort of you went to the web page for like loaded on that group. And so after, I might get it a bit wrong, but I think after 30 days, you'll be considered inactive, but you'll still be in the group, and there'll be an extra little bit below here. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. So I hear what you said now. Yeah, so Haction Lab, there's only 5 members left because we set it up at Haction Lab, and like people didn't want to use it that much, and that's fine. And so there's 17 members are now marked as inactive down here, and then they stay there. And what that will mean is we don't spam them with notifications again, because notifications that you don't want for sites that you don't visit are annoying. So we stop that. You still get @mentions notifications. And then after 6 months, you'll get an email saying, hey, we're missing you in the group. If you want to stay, just visit the page and a nice link. And then, but if you don't do anything, after a week, we'll remove you from the group. And so eventually, like for me, it's a bit like nature, where if you just leave stuff, it just eventually goes back in the ground and gets reused. So like there's groups that started up and they try and get everyone to do something and it doesn't work or whatever, and eventually the group goes to 0 members. The group as a whole is marked as inactive at some point if like nobody does anything in 30 days, and it will disappear off the main list and sort of be composted. And so I really like that sort of thing, accepting that groups might not continue, and it's okay, and we don't need any manual intervention to clean up. So there's loads of groups on Karrot.world that try that, because people somehow think that if you just create a group on a website, that everyone will keep turning up at your events or whatever, but they won't. It's a tool for something that is already existing in another realm. And the... Give me a little hint.
Complicated system for voting.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I go back to the issue thing, like, oh no, it's in the other one. Yeah, no issues in Haction Lab at all. So what we actually did is we sort of were inspired by the systemic consensus, which we were using in the. This came out as a sort of physical group project of loads of people at that time, and we were using that method inside the group, and we really simplified it here and probably killed all its important properties, because the bit we missed is proposal generation phase. So at the beginning, you have maybe a week of generating proposals of what to do. So you pose a wide question, like in this one, it might be not, I think this is why we made it a bit general. It's not like, shall we kick Mars out? It's like, there's been some problematic behaviors and let's discuss to find a solution. And then you have 1 week to put different ideas in, like, let's ask him to leave for a while, let's kick him out, everything's fine, let's just all watch a film together, let's dance or whatever, I don't know. And you would come up with proposals and then do the score voting on them. And the important bit in that model was that you always have 2 options. One is status quo, which in this one is the stays in group. And the other one is continue discussion, which is that you can't, like, all of this is shitty options, let's just carry on for another round. And then you would have, instead of the one option here that we have, you might have a whole load of different ones. And we sort of reduced it because that was too much to program.
So now you have always the same, but otherwise they would be custom to each
exactly.
issue.
And then like we discussed a lot about how to evolve this system, because there's a difference between proposals that you just agree to, like Mars doesn't get to eat dinner tonight, like Karrot can't do anything about that. Like Karrot isn't in control of the table or the cooker or anything. So that would just have to be a bit of text, and it would just say the outcome was that, and trust everyone to enforce it. Whereas removing somebody from the group is something the computer can do. And so there's a difference between a bit of text that the group agrees and a computer action. And I've sort of been brainstorming a system where we can make a more modular decision system for that. Yeah. And a question for the guy in the purple Arc'teryx top.
So how do you get validation other than usage?
Can you dumb it down a bit for me? Sorry.
How do you make this run? Like, eventually, you might run out of money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like the financial sustainability of the project itself. Yeah, yeah. I think it's been based on privilege. Like as I described to Mike the other day, like come from the middle class twat perspective where I can just go, oh, what shall I do with my life? Let's just sort of fuck about doing interesting things without any concern for my basic stability and security of life. Okay. And that's literally how a lot of it's come about. Yeah. And
the peanut gallery agrees.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't, like, I just want to be honest with that, because that's true. Like, there's loads of people that would love to fuck about making software, going into the nitty-gritty of decision-making systems, and can't for one reason or another. But that's going to run out, because now I moved back to Bath, and that's really expensive, and I need a bit more money. So next week I'm starting some capitalist work to get some money, and I won't program on this for a few months. We did get a bit of funding from NLNet recently, and that's like a potential topic. I put a money distribution, and we made it into like a low-level basic income. And I try and live this low-cost life, so I've been living like with less than 10 grand a year for ages now, and it just changed like values in life.
You should move to Thailand.
Yeah, but like then I can't do all the stuff I want to do. Yeah.
Maybe what I was actually getting to with the question wasn't specifically about money. It was more about do you have like future plans that would be either more that would make it something more, I don't know, not something that could be fundable, I guess, or something that's like, look at this going happening in the future.
Can I help maybe how to make it also safe for all these groups who now go and rely on this to keep this project alive?
Yeah, but like the bit there, I thought it was more like how to make it sort of scalable or whatever. So when you came here, you already heard of it instead of me talking about it, or so, like that it becomes a thing. Is that something like that?
Yeah, like that. Like it's like you either make it sort of profitable or indispensable. And so, like, is there something that you're making it to be very like glamorous, or something where it's like it just has to be there, and it would, what would happen if it wasn't there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, because to me, the sort of sustainability of it is based on keeping it sort of relatively low key and small, like rather than the Silicon Valley model of sort of go big or die. Like just stay small and live. And like I guess it outlives most startups already by now.
Well, maybe you make it even smaller, and then it isn't a cost then at that point.
Yeah, because I mean it has got like a job a bit like now, like because I have to do upgrades and maintain the server and like really boring shit, which isn't that fun. Like it was really fun when we started because it was like, yeah, building the new future, and there's loads of people and everyone's excited, and like years on, like people move on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think that to speak to that's a big issue. Like these projects start, and I think I was talking about the other day when I was doing my talk. These sort of projects start, but then 10 years later they're still running, and there's still a load of people depending on it. You know, it's because me and a couple of people set up a WordPress network. I mean, this is just WordPress as well. I mean, it's off the shelf sort of thing, but like 11 years later, there's just a couple of people left that are supporting these groups who are kind of dependent on this bit of software, and there's you know, so it's got to be sustainable over a long period of time. And so it's like, how do we keep it sustainable, really?
Yeah, and for me, a lot of this is about honesty. That like, I take a lot of responsibility for this project just because I care, like, and I like it. And then I have to be honest about like, what do I need in my life? Like, how can I, like, if I tell people what I need to continue, maybe that can be provided. If I pretend I can just keep it as a sort of something on the side, that's not really honest. And I'm like, well, I need more money now, and we did get this NONet funding, which we just finished, which is not loads. And my mind goes more into this direction, like how to plug in. It's a bit like I think what you're asking, but like plug into some other ecosystems that want to support it and sustain it and understand it. And we don't really have that right now. We've been quite sort of just doing our thing and then having these projects. And I, like, now I'm back in the UK, I keep trying to chat with people who are part of networks that might have resources that they're also enough value aligned that they support it, because as an individual project, it would be really hard to keep it going. I mean, it's really dependent on my individual motivation, like, and when I hear nice things about it, I want to code more, but it could go, my motivation could go down,
You have this one feature, I think, was it offers maybe?
Yeah.
But it's also only group internal, not cross groups.
Yeah, it's
Because you said if there is like what is it, needs, and what was the other thing?
like offers and needs.
Offers and
stuff,
needs.
yeah.
So could you technically make a group and express all what you need as needs, but then maybe groups could say and fund it with offers? Maybe
Yeah, no, I'd like a lot more cross-group things, and
because maybe that could be sustainable. Could also make it sustainable. I mean, depends on what is needed and what they can offer. But
whether we have needs as a project and whether
you said like you would have needs. Like, I mean, now you take in the capitalist job to make it work. But now, okay, you would either need to join all groups, or the Karrot, you said, has even a group for itself.
Yeah,
but if you would express all the needs there, nobody would see it from all these other groups.
No, it's actually a really good point, because like when we were making this, most of my needs were met within the project. So I had housing and food and transport and friends and social life all came from this network of people. When I came back to the UK, I had none of that anymore. Like, and because it makes a lot of sense if I'm nearby one of these groups, like all these things, they'd go, Nick, he's developing it, and I'd get loads of free food, and some nice people to hang out with, because they were really nice people. And I don't have that, and that really makes a big difference. So like, I'm trying to get people to use it in Bath, partly for that reason, so some of my needs can be met. And I probably wouldn't put it as an offer or need on the platform. I would just chat to them. Yeah. And
question here, why, for example, like you said, you would like open, honest dialogue with your users. Why not then telling them that like you need to earn also something and offer them a way to maybe pay a tiny subscription? If it's like so many people on, imagine that everybody pays $1 or a pound every month.
Yeah.
And that would be maybe 600,000. I don't know how many people are actually active. Or trying like a campaign, and like you never ask us if we would spread the word and help you get the word out to get some donations through.
We're doing it already.
I mean, now we're doing it in this way, but
I leave my wallet on the side.
Yeah. Well, hat. Do you have a hat?
Oh yeah, here. It's got a hole in it though. So. Yeah, no, I'd really like the crowdfunding model, because to me, your accountability goes where the money comes from. So if you get money from a fancy funding agency in the sky, you have to make them happy instead of the users, and I want to make the users happy. And like monthly donation is what I don't want to do these one-off ones, because then you sort of put loads of effort in, you get a one-off pot. and then it runs out quite soon.
Continuous ICO.
Yeah, well, we're not doing ICO bullshit.
Use other words. Use other words. He'll never know.
Yeah, but like, yeah, like if people just gave
Initial care offering.
Yeah, like I like the one where people subscribe and then they forgot they subscribed, and then it keeps them coming
This
in
was
each
you.
month.
You told me that you were basically donating to UNICEF or something like that, and you forgot. And it was
No,
like,
I was
oh.
donating to my mobile phone company, like paying £5 a month to a SIM card I didn't use, and then it went up to 15 quid a month, and then 2 years later I noticed. Yeah, but yeah, no, I'd like it to also maybe bring people in, and so have it as a voluntary one, but like make my needs and the needs of other. I mean, it's not just me in the project, but make those needs transparent, and then people can pay an optional amount, and then also some funding stuff or whatever.
I feel like it's like you should have your
Jonathan,
funding.
take-
Just off the cuff,
Sorry.
ridiculous thoughts. It'd be like just donations, I guess.
Yeah,
It's like I found 5 quid on the ground. Here you go.
Thanks.
Like pick it up here.
I'll put it in my wallet later. Cheers. And we got like one group give us €30 a month. Like we didn't ask, and they like, we really want to donate something. So,
I mean, there's a lot of people who are somehow connected to the money pipe, and they earn a lot, or somehow money runs through them somehow. So asking is sometimes already.
yeah, and I never feel that good connected in the money pipes. Should I go to another item on the side? I still feel like I need to go through them all. Yeah, so like history was a really important part of our accountability. Like because we make it quite easy for people to get editing rights, what we wanted to do is instead of restrict rights to do stuff, just make people accountable for what they do. Because in most of the cases, maybe this is just random theory off the top of my head, but if someone does something bad, like renames the group to like wizard assholes, that they did it by accident. Okay, that's a really bad example because you an accident, you type that. But yeah, if people do something, they probably did it as an accident, not because they're an asshole. And if you have this accountability feature, you can just see what they did, maybe have a chat with them and revert it. I mean, we didn't make a revert button, but it's normally easy enough to do it. And so the history feature has everything that happened in here. So created the group, who joined this group, creating the place, creating the activity type, and who got editing permissions, and then when an activity's done, or whether it was missed, or if someone stepped back from it, and how long, like if they just step back 5 minutes before it, that's a bit of a naughty thing to do. So it's like an accountability feature. And if you click on it, you see some information, and then this one is even more horrible. You see raw JSON. Whoa. Yeah. I really need a wee, actually, so.
So should we wrap it up a little bit?
No. Yeah, and there's another
So then
4 or
we can
5 new
discuss
terms.
why we
The
use-
man in the waterproof
Yeah.
socks.
I won't take the mic
the
with
man
me.
who sucks.
Yeah. But I can hear your question because of the toilet's only.
Who waterproof sucks.
I also wondered if I invited the other Karrot team.
I
to
waterproof
Discord,
sucks.
but I don't know how to see if they're there.
No, I forgot what I wanted to say. Actually 2 things. Like one thing was, is there like a way to give feedback to the developers of this platform? Because yeah, right, perfect. So then let me try out this feature. I just was when I saw the history, I kind of imagined something entirely different, because this what I'm seeing now. I know from Discord, but they call it an audit log or something.
What did you imagine as history then?
I don't know, more something like a feed of social stuff, like something, or events, or any kind of, or activities that are in the past already that are kind of archived.
This what they have under feedback, basically.
Yeah, right. Or
Score.
or
What constitutes your score?
maybe, or when activities, there are activities, but when they're done, so they're not there anymore, or like they would maybe all go to history. I imagine more something like that, like the history of the group. But this is like only specifically sort of what I imagine as an audit log or something. That's at least how Discord calls it. I'm not sure if even that's the best name, but yeah. Anyway, that's just feedback. I'm trying out the feedback feature. Or the support feature.
Oh, you said. Oh,
Did you wash your hands?
no.
There's my glass somewhere here. Yes? There's my glass.
Oh, I think I put it already in the kitchen. Because
I didn't use soap.
Sorry. Oh, did I? No. I put it there.
Yeah, actually, somebody just 2 days ago, like what we're discussing is where to put past activities, and we're discussing how it should appear in there, and somebody said, oh yeah, I would expect to find it in the history, so.
Yeah, me too. And this one maybe an audit log, or I don't know.
Yeah, it is an audit. Actually, we were going to rename it to activity before we renamed pickups to activities.
Ah, I see.
It's really hard to name things.
Yeah, I agree. That's what they say.
The most
Yeah.
complicated feature of programming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
naming. And cache.
I'd actually like it to be customizable in the group, actually, that you can override the translations.
Oh, sweet, yeah. It's not too many entries, yeah, right.
Which is what, with the activities, even though we create these default ones, they're not built in, so...
Right, makes
Yeah,
sense.
so you can put them here. And I know the group in Warsaw renamed the pickups to something
Yeah.
in Polish,
That's awesome.
which makes sense. And it's the same for members. Like, some groups wouldn't call them members, they would call them something else. And the editor role, like we're sort of, like moving more and more stuff to customizability.
That's cool. So now finally comes my question from the beginning.
Yeah. So then, we got applications is when people apply to join, and you can see who added them as well. Again, more accountability. Issues is what we already went through. We have statistics. Let's do it in Action Lab.
There's a lot of notifications happening upper right.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. So statistics was a feature requested by, I think it's groups that needed to tell somebody what they're doing. Oh, that's one purpose. And the other one is checking on naughty people. So if you pick a person, and we limited the individual naughty checking to only 6 months, so we blocked out all these other options because we have a principle of forgiveness. So after 6 months, if you've been naughty, let's forget about it. And the naughtiness we're talking about is if you drop out from something you said you would do, really close to the deadline. So I don't know if, nobody does anything in this group because, exactly, flakiness. Oh yeah, so here's at least something. So it shows how many activities they did, how much feedback they gave, and if they withdrew, how many they withdrew from. And then you can check, was it like, if they pulled out less than 24 hours, that's really naughty. And if somebody else actually later then did it, you might not care, so you could untick that one. So it depends. Because so if you just want the thing to be done and the person pulled out, and they might have chatted with someone and said, oh, can you sign in for me? So you might not want to punish them. Like almost everything on here is like directly requested by some group who have got a really concrete case that wants it, because I'm not just going to build the shit for fun.
Anymore.
It's like boring features, like who wants to build that? We're streaming audio, that's fun. Okay, that's just the public information page, and and then there's a bit of stuff in the places. It has its own wall. You can filter the feedback, do the activities, edit the group. Oh, actually, no, you did have the question about giving feedback to the developers. So we really wanted to include that aspect as part of it. We use we do more stuff inside Karrot now, but we also have a discourse forum, and we pull in posts from there. So to try and make it a bit visible and keep it unread count. And so here they can directly click, and they can see this is all our meeting minutes. we have weekly meeting, and everything's public on here. So we try and they're not going to really read that in reality. And I'd like to evolve that a bit more to like filter it for stuff that's really relevant for them, to like say, oh, we're doing a design process around this feature. Do you want to participate? And maybe let them opt in or opt out. And we have a sort of normal about page with all the links. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. 'Cause there's all the new features we just developed with our funding that none of them are in here. Like, but maybe it's like.
Give us a taste. Give us a flavor of the pre-alpha.
Yeah. So I'll go over to the. So we have a lot of automated deployment stuff. So whenever we merge stuff, it gets deployed to dev. Karrot. World, and yeah, and so I think not that one. Ah, yeah. So public activities. This is one of the most exciting things. So yeah, some groups wanted to make them public, and so we added them. So here's a public one, where somebody's just. They set up an activity, not a recurring one at the moment, just one time, and they go make it public, and you can add a banner, and then you get sort of, I went on meetup.com and made it look a bit like that. So you get a nice sort of thing with information about the group, and a sort of magic link, unguessable one. So yeah, eventually, you might not want them listed. You might want it like a magic link sort of thing, and that's the first round of this public stuff. And yeah, you can share it with the link or get the ICS file, and then that would evolve at some point that you can sign up to it without making an account. And I don't know how that would work. Maybe email or I don't know. We'll find a way. And that came in particular from a group in Vienna who it's a really active network of people. Like they have a 400-person Telegram group, and they're doing just loads of cool community stuff, like get food out the bin and serve it up there, move this around, have bike trailers everywhere, like do kitchen stuff, protest camps, whatever, like really, and they use Karrot, but not everyone joins Karrot. So like the core people might. And what they really want is magic links that they can put in the Telegram chat, and that random people can sign up and say, oh, I'll do that, and then can be contacted with more details. And so this is the first step on the way to that. And one of the interesting things is design process. So if I just, I could do it with a link, because it's a stupid URL. Well, it's not that long. Quick before the room loses interest. Oh no! Panic! So updates from the Karrot community. What did we do? Oh yeah. So our design process is something we're getting increasingly proud of. We tried it a bit. Community design process is meant to be where we involve everybody. Or get input from everybody. And we did a design process. So you take a broad topic and then try and understand everything and then make it to a topic that you can implement. And so the broad topic we called breaking the silo, which is understanding groups are part of networks. They're not just individual groups. And a lot of the groups were wanting to do that. And we needed to understand, like, what is it they want to do? Like, is it work with other groups? Is it like this share links in Telegram? Is it public activities? And so we did a design process, and this is a sort of summary write-up of the whole thing. And of course I won't read that, but I'll show a nice picture. So we did a like mind map, I guess, on Excalibur. It's a nice open source tool. Let's make it very slightly. Oh, there we go. And here we started with a Karrot group and then put all the different things they connect with. So they normally have Facebook groups and wider people in the area and put them on a map. And then we put all these blobs on, which are things people tell us, or things that we imagine, or things that we just know. So we do interviews and chat with people and represent it on here. And then we decided what we want to do. And out of this, what we decided is a good initial step is public activities. So we can't do it all, but public activities addresses all of this sort of stuff where people do Facebook and Telegram chats. And these blobs are what people that work on the project, so 3 of us were in here, thought was most interesting. So don't overwhelm people with too many tools, like supporting the group's outreach, counter consumer culture from Facebook, so they can make Karrot their main place for events and just link to it from Facebook. How do we encourage people on the periphery to take on responsibilities within the group? That's like what we've been talking about a lot. Yeah. So, that all came from, where was I? This one, yeah, public activities. So, and I can log in because there's a easy login. No, not dev. Foo. Where's at?
Shift 2.
Yeah. Foo.com.
Coma.
Foo. Change your password. Yeah. So I'll show one other feature. Go away, cycling man. So yeah, one thing is adding. Let's just do a meal. So this is the normal thing when you add an activity, like how many people. And I added this one, participant types, because for an activity you might not just have one type of role, you might have multiple. So if this is a meal, you might have shopping, and cooking, and say just one person for the shopping, 3 people for the cooking, and clearing up. Oh yeah, like.
Oh yeah, no one for clearing up.
Oh yeah. Oh no, actually no. That one's eating the meal. 8, and then cleaning up. You can't do no one. Let's do one person, and you can also limit it by some roles. So approved. That's a new thing.
Newcomer probably used to do clearing up.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, what we added this feature for, the concrete case, was in food sharing in Luxembourg. They have Karrot as their main thing, but when new people join, they want them to do 2 pickups first, and someone check that they're okay. And currently they have a Mattermost installation to coordinate that, because it's like, oh yeah, you're free on Wednesday, or what about this time? What about this time? And they want to move all to Karrot, but they can't do that because they don't have these different levels in Karrot. And so we generalized that request into this feature, basically. And so what they can do is for most of their activities, they can set it to needing approved. And then for other ones, they can create sort of ones that are newcomer friendly. They can create a couple of slots or one slot where newcomer can join, and then someone can approve them later.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that has the make it public thing with the image, but we don't need to do that. And if I create that one, then you see this thing with now multiple types, and when you join, you can select which role. That's not the one I just created, actually. It's this one. Shopping, yeah. Cooking, eating, and cleaning up. So join meal, and I can't do cleaning up because I'm not a newcomer. And a newcomer is basically anyone who hasn't got one of the other roles yet. So it's like a algorithmic thing. Yeah.
So essentially, this is volunteer logistics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have you looked at any of the other volunteer logistics?
All of them.
companies?
Yeah.
Like Volgistics?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
This
Yeah.
is the one, the animal shelter that I volunteer at works at.
Yeah.
Uses it's terrible.
Hello.
But it works. Yeah,
No
I'll
one
just give him
there.
a call.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll ring sometime. But your system seems better.
Yeah.
But they're more recurring schedule based.
Oh yeah, we have recurring schedule. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But the main difference that we have is that we don't have a distinction between like the coordinators and the volunteers, like because that's part of the sort of social political model. I think people can use it when they have that distinction, but.
And I think maybe the other big distinction is they have a sign-in sort of kiosk mode, where you can like type in your phone number or your username and say, "I'm here now."
Like when you actually arrived at the thing,
And then I'm leaving now, and then it keeps track of those so that you have sort of a history of the hours that you've volunteered.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. That's quite motivating. Like I'll talk to people and they'll be like, "I volunteered 1,000 hours last year," and they'll be like, "Well, obviously they have to back that up somehow, and it's probably in the system."
Yeah, and it's stuff like that. I mean, in theory, it could be added. And what I'd like to do is work with networks of projects that have some other requirements, and find a way to build it in a way that's usable not just for that network, but because, like, say, this group in Luxembourg, what they wanted is just trial activities, and they did a little drawing of what they're like just a button
for the members.
And yeah, just something that the trial people can sign up in. And we're like, well, we don't want to make it just for that because that's not how every group works. But if I go and walk on a hill and sort of think about what the more general thing is that might work for a lot of groups, I always like designing it one step more general than the need. Not 2 steps, like 2 steps is too far, and then people can't even use it because they're like, hang on, I wanted it to do this, and you've made this. That's weird. And we might have already done that with this. Like, we only just merged this last week or something. So we had to, the guy in Luxembourg's been we've been chatting the whole time, showing him little screen shares. Actually, that's motivated by your Wizard Amigo, the screen share thing. Not screen share, screencast. Cool. And so we have to check, is that going to actually work? And maybe he can try it out on the dev one. And then they'll have to adapt their organization to maybe start not using the Mattermost and see how it works, and maybe there's a few bugs and whatever. So, and almost everyone's gone. So I guess that's the end. I don't know if anyone. Sorry if any of the Karrot people were there and wanted to talk, but there was no.
Oh, is that food? I thought is that being food?
Yeah. Oh, it's yeah.
I'm super excited about the Karrot. This is good. This works.
It was only a joke.